Hi, welcome to Pre-AP Physics. Today we're talking about qualitative collisions. That means there really won't be any calculations. There are three types of collisions. First is elastic. Elastic is when the objects collide and bounce off each other in a collision. Second is inelastic, when the objects collide and stick together after the collision. And third is an explosion, when objects are together to start and then separate. So let's look at several examples. In this example, it's an elastic collision, so that means they're going to bounce apart. Object A is moving at 3 and has a mass of 1. So it has a small mass and it's moving relatively quickly, but it's going to hit a bigger object. Object B is bigger, and it's not moving. So afterwards, object A could stop and object B goes, but it goes slower, moves forward. In elastic 2, you have a large object moving quickly, hits a small object that's not moving. In this case, it can happen that the large object stops and the small object goes very quickly. Think of hitting a marble with a bigger ball of some sort. Elastic 3 is a small object moving quickly, hits a relatively large object that's not moving. And in this case, they both move. Object A continues to move, but it moves slower than it did before, and object B has a velocity now. Notice that the arrows are indicating the velocity, direction, and amount. Elastic 4 is when two objects are moving toward each other. Notice that object B is moving in a negative direction, so it has a negative velocity. When they collide, it's possible that they bounce backwards so that A's velocity becomes negative and B's velocity becomes positive, hence the red and blue arrows. Elastic 5 is if they're the same mass and going at the same speed and they collide together, they could literally just bounce back at the exact same speeds that they had before, just in the opposite direction. Inelastic is before and after, right? Before you have and remember that inelastic, they're going to stick together. So before you have a relatively large object moving toward an object that is the same size, they both have the same speed, and when they collide, they stick together and they don't move. But notice that their mass just adds together, it's combined. Elastic 2, you have a large mass moving quickly, hits a large mass that's not moving. The two will then move off together slower. If you have a small object moving not very quickly, hits a very large object, the large object slows the smaller object down a whole lot and can actually virtually stop. You have a very large object moving quickly, hits a very small object. The two of them stick together, the velocity does slow down, but not very much. And finally, in an explosion, you have a yellow square and a blue square, and they're kind of layered on top of each other, and they have a combined mass of 10. When they explode, the yellow will go one direction. Notice it has a negative velocity, and the blue will go in the opposite direction. They simply separate or break apart. All right, you are going to be working on and looking at real life examples of this today. Good luck and thanks for watching.